Greetings friends. Today we get acquainted with the work of the French impressionist artist Henri Lebasque. Thanks to his paintings, they also say that he is an artist of joy and light. We will get acquainted with his life and work, see a large number of magnificent works and their special style, in which neo-impressionism, fauvism, batarism and other movements of that time are closely intertwined. The paintings of Henri Lebasque will take us to an atmosphere of serenity and joy of life on the soft coast of the Mediterranean Sea. Who has not subscribed to the channel yet, subscribe. We are waiting for a lot of interesting things. Let's go! Henri Lebasque is a transitional figure between the Impressionists and the Fauvists. His paintings show an attentiveness to subtle details and the spread of natural light, have pure hues and gestures, and evoke bold, vibrant emotions in viewers. The paintings are dominated by sunny landscapes, interiors of the French Riviera, children's and women's portraits. The artist Henri Lebasque was younger than the great impressionists such as Claude Monet and Pierre-Auguste Renoir. However, in his paintings, he embodied the pure impressionist spirit. Throughout his life and career, he has sought to capture the simplest and sunniest pleasures of life. Family reunions, relaxing holidays, the vibrant calm of the Mediterranean and the coast of the French Riviera. These are objects that the artist has always liked and which he tried to display on canvas with sensitive love. Henri Lebasque was born in Champagne, Maine-et-Loire, France on September 25, 1865, into a poor family. His father was a timber merchant and owned a café in the village square. As a teenager, Lebasque began working as a house painter in Angers, and then entered the School of Fine Arts in the same city. In 1885, at the age of 20, he was declared unfit for service due to rheumatism, which he suffered all his life. In the same year, he moved to Paris, where he made a living as a decorator, which seemed to him rather tedious. However, he was always good-natured, as his inner joy never left him. In Paris, he often visited the atelier of Léon Bonnet. This was the time when France completely emerged from the shadow of Napoleon's rule into a new industrial age. Art was also being shaken, with artists experimenting outside of traditional techniques and academic painting. The Impressionists had already managed to raise the waves of a fresh artistic movement with their new, modern approach to art, paving the way for Lebasque and his contemporaries. In Paris, he studied painting at the École des Beaux-Arts and came under the influence of his fellow students Pierre Bonnard and Edouard Vuillard, both key members of Les Nobbies. This group of young French artists took a symbolist approach to art and proved a key link in the transition from Impressionism to abstraction. Thus, much of Lebasque's earliest work is darker than the bright and colorful for which he would eventually be known. At the Beaux-Arts, he was a student of Bonn, the official portrait painter of the Third Republic, who described him as a very brilliant draftsman. He began exhibiting regularly at the annual exhibitions of the Art Society and at the Paris Salon, and assisting the painter Ferdinand Humbert with decorative frescoes in the Pantheon. In 1893, he met Lucy and Signac at the Salon de Independence. Divisionism had just arrived, and like Cross and Van Rysselberg, Lebasque could not entirely escape the influence of Georges Seurat's technique. Lebasque was known for painting with bright colors, earning him the nickname, "Artist of Light and Joy." After learning the importance of using complementary colors in hue from Seurat and Paul Signac, Henri begins to paint landscapes, still lives, and nudes that capture the viewer's imagination. In addition, he demonstrates mastery in depicting the effects of natural light on his subjects. The influence of the abundance of Fauvist flowers can be traced in all the following works of Lebasque. Very soon, he decided to quit his studies and became friends with the artists Paul Signac, Bonnard and Vuillard, co-founders of the Nobbies and Intimists groups, who loved the silence and lightness of home subjects, and from whom he learned the meaning of color theory, which emphasized the use of complementary colors and hue. He also met Camille Pissarro and Renoir, who had a great influence on his work. During these early years in Paris, the artist divided his time between paid work and personal training. He obviously explored various creative avenues, but his spontaneous liking for the Nobbies group and his encounters with Bonnard and Vuillard pushed him to become who he felt he was. But very soon Lebasque abandoned this school, the scope of which was too narrow and cramped for the artist, who loved, above all, to show his own vision of nature in his paintings. The key turning point in his career came in 1903, when Lebasque co-founded the Salon de Danse with Henri Matisse and other artistic revolutionaries. Founded as a reaction against the official Salon, de Danse showcased the most innovative styles of its day. His inaugural show in 1903 included works by Lebasque, Matisse, Pierre Bonnard, Henri Manguin, Armand Guillemin, and many others, while also including homage to Paul Gauguin, who died the same year. Perhaps the most important show in the history of the organization was held in 1905. This exhibition featured boldly colored and high-profile paintings by Matisse, Derain, Manet, Manguin, Vuillard, and Rouault. Critic Louis Vauxelles called the group Les Fauves, or the Wild Beasts, for their use of bright colors and wild, unbridled lines. His incorporation into the organization provided Lebasque with a new, very modern aesthetic that he would experiment with and eventually assimilate with. A friend of Matisse, Manguin, and Rouault, he did not share their style, bright colors and strong brushwork, but remained closer to the subtlety of Impressionism. In the 1900s, he lived in Lagny with his family and painted landscapes of the nearby Marne forest. In 1906, thanks to a friend, Manguin discovered the south of France and its very specific light, which led him to a dramatic change in style. While maintaining a very delicate palette of soft and light tones, his brushstroke became freer and broader in charming scenes, indoors and outdoors. Since his very first visit to the French Riviera, Lebasque's transparent canvases have earned him the nickname, Artist of Joy and Light. Here the artist rented the Villa de Mere in Saint-Tropez and eventually found his creative path. It was a year of real transition for the artist. From 1906, Lebasque's touch became looser, adopting paired pastel colors in unison with a happy life, from which he depicted selected moments taking place in peaceful villas, Arcadian gardens, river banks, or sunny beaches. The artist is particularly interested in femininity and childhood, taking his wife Catherine, two daughters Martha and Helene, and son Pierre as models. It was in the setting of Villa de Mere that the artist began to produce magnificent female portraits. The omnipresence of his loved ones in an atmosphere of serenity turns his paintings into an ode to the joy of life on the Mediterranean coast. He continued to travel to the Vendée, Brittany, and Normandy, but always preferred the small, idyllic villages in the south of France. During these years, the subjects of his paintings were the objects and people around him, portraits of his wife and children, interiors and gardens, river banks, as well as views of Provence and the Côte d'Azur, orchards and olive groves. He first settled in Saint-Tropez and Saint-Maxime, then in Le Canet in 1924, becoming a neighbor of Dunoyer de Segonzac and Bonnard. Although Lebasque exhibited with the Fauvists and admired Matisse, Rouault, Dufy, Waltat, and Manguin, he remained distinct from them in style and was well known during his lifetime. He participated in the design of the Theatre of the Champs-Élysées and the Atlantic Liner, Paris. His canvases began to show a carefree approach to life, and his style acquired a high degree of flexibility. He readily incorporated various elements of neo-impressionism, fauvism, batarism, and other modern movements into his compositions from this period. By the 1920s, the artist gradually moved towards a simpler and purer stylistic approach. However, his work has always been harmonious and has always shown the bold use of color that he has maintained throughout his career. He developed a personal style full of freshness and sensibility, which was the guarantee of his success and the recognizability of his paintings. These qualities prompted Bonnier to write, "Lebasque deserves the fame of a fine original artist who knows his vocation, uses it well, and never abuses it. Hailed by critics and artists as the artist of the good life, Henri Lebasque was recognized for his individuality, subtle sense of light, individual approach, and his own style, in which the sensitivity of the artist merges with inspiring light. Henri Lebasque died at Les Canet, Alps, on August 7, 1937. Today, his paintings can be found in important museums around the world, including the Musée d'Orsay, Paris, the Museum of Fine Arts, St. Museum of Harvard University, and the Indianapolis Museum of Art. Henri Lebasque's work has been offered at auction multiple times, with prices starting at $41, depending on the size and material of the artwork. The record price for a painting by this artist is $1,145,906 for Madame Valte at Et Sunfils, sold at Christie's in Paris in 2008. With you was the Touch Art channel and the work of the French impressionist artist Henri Lebasque. If you liked the video, do not forget to subscribe and like, and also write comments. This will help improve the content and make the video more interesting for you. Thank you.